In a world of overnight shipping, TikTok shop, and one-click shopping, it's easier than at any other point in human history to buy things. And we spend so much money that in the United States, people aren't referred to as people. We're referred to as consumers. Overconsumption has become so normalized for everyday life and everyday people in the United States, but I think people are finally hitting their limits. Hey y'all, I'm Kara Perez, the founder of Bravely Go, and I talk about money and sustainability on this platform and all the other platforms, so feel free to hit subscribe if those are topics you're interested in, and give this video a thumbs up right now to help us in the algorithm. Last year we had de-influencing emerge as a social media trend, and this year we have Underconsumption core. Underconsumption core is trending, and yes, as your favorite sustainability and money girly, I have made a few videos myself. I live, laugh, and love in the United States, and broadly speaking, the United States is a country obsessed with shopping. So seeing this trend is actually very encouraging and inspiring for me. But before we go any further, I want to encourage you to become a patron. We could not make content on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok without the support from our patrons. We are a small, all-women media team out here in a media landscape that is quite frankly depressing AF. The support that we get from our patrons allows us to create this kind of content, and we also provide lots of really amazing bonuses to people who are patrons, including event discounts and exclusive content. So if you want to watch this video with no ads, for example, you can do so as a patron. Check out the link in our description to become a patron. But what am I even talking about? Underconsumption core is a current trend on TikTok and Instagram where people are highlighting the small amounts of items that they own or how they reuse or repurpose things. It's a trend focused on buying and using less as opposed to the normal vibe on social media, which is hyperconsumption and hyper-luxury. Instead of these over-the-top, look how much I can buy, look how expensive the things in my life are, look at how big my house is, Underconsumption core is like, hey, look at the 2 pieces of makeup that I own. Look at the old car that I drive. Look at the bedspread that I got hand-me-down from my grandma. And it's especially interesting to me, as someone who spends a ton of time on social media, to see this trend really take off on TikTok, considering that TikTok has really gone from being a social media platform to being a shopping platform. TikTok has become the shopping network for Gen Z. Here's a quote from the Business of Fashion. TikTok has become an incredibly promotional environment as users can shop directly in the app, but are also constantly peering through the looking glass of others' consumption habits. Restocking videos show people re-upping their meticulously arranged pantry and refrigerator stashes of snacks and sodas, or their pristine vanities with premium personal care products are hypnotic to some, but off-putting to others. The same goes for those who post their extensive collection of Stanley Cups or Le Creuset cookware. TikTok has become a place that's so saturated with selling you things that sometimes you don't even know that you're watching an ad. Take restock videos where you are watching someone restock their refrigerator with soda, kombucha, tea. They're taking their deli meats out of the packaging they bought them in and putting them in specially labeled plastic bins and then organizing them neatly in their refrigerator. Spoiler, that's an ad. Even if the creator isn't in that specific video saying, hey, buy these plastic containers that I use, there's usually a link in their bio where you can go buy those containers. And you're also being conditioned to think, hey, it's not good enough for me to leave my deli meat in the packaging from the store. I have to put it in this other thing that I have to buy. So on a platform like TikTok, and in this age of hyperconsumption, how is Underconsumption core trending, and why now? Now, if you've been paying attention to literally anything over the last 4 or 5 years, you've noticed everything in life has gotten hella expensive. And in the last year, we have also seen a rise in layoffs. While the government and companies tried to blame inflation for rising prices, we now know that it was in fact just corporate greed making life more expensive for all of us. While companies did face higher costs while we were in the thick of COVID in 2020 and 2021, they also took the opportunity to increase their prices at the expense of regular people. There's just no way that companies can have record-breaking profit quarter after quarter, year after year, and be struggling to afford their product. The math ain't mathin'. So now we're years into a world with rising costs from everything from housing to food to education to transportation, and people have hit their limits. There's only so much free money that so many people have. And for all that the United States is the biggest economy in the world, most Americans don't make very much money. The median salary for a full-time wage or salary worker is $1,143 a week, or $59,436 a year. The United States is just an expensive country to live in, and while of course there are areas that are more expensive than other places, for example, Seattle is more expensive than living in Jackson, Mississippi, things like housing, healthcare, and transportation are generally big costs for everyone here, no matter where you live. And income does correlate to how much you spend. There's data that shows the higher your income, the higher your spending, and that people who get paid more frequently spend more money. It's also a pretty safe assumption that if you were someone who was living paycheck to paycheck and then you start earning more money, you're going to start spending more money on things that you were perhaps postponing while you were broke. A lot of people in the United States put off going to see the doctor or going to see the dentist when money is tight. And then when money is less tight, they're like, hey, let me get my teeth checked out. So as you earn more money, your spending will go up to cover some of those necessities that you were not doing before. But the other truth, and this is something that I don't think that we talk about a lot in the personal finance world, is that low-income people are not exempt from overconsumption. Over the last decade, a lot of industries and goods have experienced what I like to call the fast fashion effect. More things are more widely available to more people at a lower cost and at lower quality than ever before, which means that you can be low income and still be over-consuming. The things you're buying are just going to be more cheaply made. Things have also gotten cheaper at the same time as the rise of pay later apps and companies. So even though these Temu shorts only cost $2.31 total, you only have to put down 57 cents to get them delivered, and you can pay the rest later. So even someone only earning $20,000 a year in the United States can afford to buy a pair of shorts for 57 cents. I mean, at 57 cents a pop, someone could spend 10 bucks and buy 35 items from Temu. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm blaming low-income people for over-consuming, because over-consuming is so easy to fall into for anyone, regardless of your income level. Overconsumption has become normalized. We are constantly seeing haul videos on our social media. We are constantly bombarded in our more traditional media, like TV and radio and newspaper, by images of the hyper-wealthy who are hoarding things like houses and cars and yachts. Here also in the United States, I really do think overconsumption is tied in part to our American identity. Americans do not like to feel limited. Americans are obsessed with the concept of freedom, and we apply that word really liberally to all areas of our lives. It feels like an impediment to our personal freedom or our personal liberties if we are told no, or if we are told to limit ourselves. To a lot of people here, it is your right as an American to be able to buy whatever you want, whenever you want, in whatever quantities you want. Being limited by something like government regulation or being told by someone like myself that, hey, overconsumption is killing the planet, pisses off a lot of people. And you only need to look at the comments in my social media platforms to see that. But I think as we see with the rise of underconsumption core, people are beginning to opt out of this narrative. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this trend is coming into the mainstream during an election year. But wait, Kara, what does the presidential election have to do with underconsumption core? Well, I'm so glad you asked. The United States has become increasingly politically polarized over the last 10 years. Everything has been politicized. Even something like the United States flag, which should represent every single American, doesn't. The US flag is definitely now associated with the right wing of American politicians. And certain types of spending and certain ways that you speak about spending have also become politicized. Even the way that we talk about the economy has become very politicized because a lot of people blame whoever the president is for the entire state of the economy, even though the president does not control things like gas prices or food prices. The prices for those things are set by private companies and by global availability for that product. Take oil, for example. The United States produces a lot of oil, but we also import oil. If Saudi Arabia shut down all of its oil production, the entire world would go into crisis, but we would feel that here in the United States because we have a global economy. And it wouldn't be the president's fault that Saudi Arabia shut down their oil production, but we would blame the president and their particular political party here in the US. All of this to say that in a presidential election year where politics are front and center day after day, it dominates the news media, it dominates social media, we are going to have conversations around consumption via a political lens. And the election hasn't even happened yet. We're not even really close to the election. It happens in November, but people are already sick of political ads. And I think that that ties into this other mindset where people are sick of advertising in general. When everything feels like an ad, there's no escape from ads. And I think underconsumption core is trending right now, not just because people have less disposable cash, but because people are really, really hitting their limit with nonstop advertising. I spend a ton of time online, and I also live in a city that doesn't really have very good public transportation, so I drive most places that I need to, and I see a ton of ads. I tried to count how many ads that I see in a day, and I gave up after 200, and it wasn't even 10 a.m. yet. All you need to do is open Instagram, and probably one of the first things you're going to see is an ad. There are ads on your main feed. There are ads in between Instagram stories. You might be seeing a influencer's sponsored post, which is an ad. There's ads on billboards. There's ads on storefront windows. There's ads on the TV, on the radio. There's ads all over any website that you visit. There's ads on YouTube. There's ads on Spotify. There's ads at gas stations. There's ads at clothing stores. There's ads in the mail, coupons that get delivered to you. And there's even ads in your inbox. And the overall message of every single ad is buy this thing, buy this service. So when you're getting hit with that message nonstop every day from every single direction, it's exhausting. It's infuriating, but it's also just really draining. I recently made a TikTok talking about how shopping has become really annoying. Shopping isn't fun, especially online shopping, and it did numbers because a lot of people agree.
And this is the crux of the issue, right? Because they want to keep you on an endless shopping loop. They always want to try and get more money out of you, but they're doing it in a way that's annoying and that makes the whole process of shopping unenjoyable. Because now, in order to get the thing that you want, you have to dodge the endless emails, the endless texts, the endless asks for get our app or join our mailing list or whatever it is, so that by the time you're able to actually buy the thing you wanted in the first place, you're exhausted, you're annoyed, you're angry. And the whole experience has been unpleasant, so you're not eager to repeat it. In fact, you may be eager to say, F this, I never want to work with this company again. There's no more joy in the shopping experience. There is just pain. They've made it painful.
It honestly feels like you're trying to survive an endurance competition. I feel like online shopping can become one of those challenges on Survivor. And then at the end of this endurance competition, you have less money. So as we're living in a world that is beginning to feel like one big ad, I also feel that underconsumption core is beginning to trend because it's a way for people to show how they are opting out of being influenced. And I don't just mean by influencers, I mean by companies, by brands, by politicians. I think people are really craving not just peace and quiet from advertising, but I think people are also beginning to crave the time and the ability to think for themselves. Like I mentioned before, so much of what we see online now is an ad, whether it's disclosed or undisclosed. But a lot of time online now is constantly being pressured into being a certain way, thinking a certain way, looking a certain way, smelling a certain way. Advertising has long relied on basically insulting you, right? Pointing out something that is wrong with you and how their product can help you fix it. Hey, you have hairy legs, buy our razor and you'll have smooth legs. Hey, you smell bad, get our deodorant and you'll smell good. That's generally how a lot of advertising works. And now, of course, we have influencers and we have social media in general where companies and individuals are able to highlight their lifestyle. Look how I live. Look how beautiful my home is. Here's the paint color that I use. Look how cute my children are. Here are the clothes that they are wearing. And that is a form of advertising. So we're just constantly being told what to do, what to look like, what to wear, who to hang out with, where to travel on vacation. I swear to God, Italy, I don't know, the marketing department of Italy or the tourism department of Italy has its hooks so deep in the influencer girly culture. Every influencer girly is vacationing in Italy. They're having European summers and it's mostly in Italy, which makes me feel like I should go to Italy. And I think people are exhausted by that. It's also frustrating to constantly be told what to think, whether that's politically or socially or personally. A lot of people use social media to spread their own personal beliefs. Hey, I don't want to get vaccinated and neither should you. And you're like, I just came on here to look at pictures of Italy and now I'm being told I shouldn't get vaccinated. Something that has been well documented is the granola to alt-right lifestyle where people start off making content on social media about healthy living and they get pushed into this funnel down to the alt-right that is anti-vax and pro-raw milk and all of these beliefs that tie into lifestyle choices. And you as the consumer, maybe you're just watching one video where they go pick up their raw milk, or one video where they talk about why they don't want to vaccinate their children. But overall, you're getting this message of, if I don't do it, you shouldn't do it. And some people directly come out and say that. And I want to stress, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. People should be able to talk about their own lifestyle choices and decisions they're making for themselves. But again, in this context of viewer versus creator, we have to understand that we as the viewers are thus being told what to believe. Now, you have free will. You don't have to choose to believe that. But when that is the mode of communication that person after person after person is using on the internet, it begins to feel like you're constantly being bombarded with how you should live your life. Similar to when you're constantly bombarded with advertising, you are constantly trying to be separated from your money. I'm just saying that when your social media feed or when your whole world is full of people trying to sell you something, either a literal item or a lifestyle or an ideology, you don't have an escape. A lot of people turn to social media because it's fun or because they want to see certain people, right? You want to keep up with friends, family, and you have relationships with influencers that you're interested in. And if you don't feel recharged after your time on social media, but you instead feel overwhelmed or sad or angry or simply not good enough, I think we need to ask ourselves, what is going on here? And I think people have asked that, and the answer is Underconsumption core. Because Underconsumption core is not really trying to sell you anything. It's trying to get you to use what you already have, to celebrate what you already have, to be proud of the life and the lifestyle that you already have. It's nice and it's refreshing to see Underconsumption core on social media. A huge part of what we see online is not only the excess consumption, but excess perfection. Perfectly organized refrigerators, closets that are filled with multiple Kelly bags, people going on the perfect vacation with their perfect body. That's just simply not how the vast majority of the United States, let alone the world, lives. So with Underconsumption core, getting to see someone's 3-item makeup bag, or getting to see someone's old car, or seeing, sheets that they've had for 20 years. It's so truly refreshing. That's the word that comes to mind for me, just refreshing. And if you look at the comments of some of these videos, I think you can feel the palpable relief from people. People are thrilled to celebrate other people's normal routines, and people are happy to not be asked to buy something. Underconsumption core reflects the actual reality around us. And I think it's trending because people are desperate for a break from advertising and a break from being told what to do.
Is anyone just over the era of influencers recently? I know we want more relatable people, and we've always been talking about that recently, but I'm just I can't do it anymore. I can't watch any more videos of people going to Pilates at 5 a.m. and drinking their greens and bone broth and walking around the city and sending emails and going to the Hamptons on holidays. I don't want to see your Hamptons vlog. I don't want to shop your Amazon storefront or your TikTok showcase. I don't want to see your haul. I don't want to look at your rent the runway, HelloFresh. I don't want your discount code. I want to watch you go to a park without headphones, without the AirPod Pros on your scalp. And I want to see you sit in the sun for 2 hours. That's what I want. I don't want to see any more products.
I think it's a reflection of how desperate we all are for other ways to spend our time rather than just buying things. But those are just my thoughts. I'm curious to hear from you, and I want to know, are you enjoying Underconsumption core? Do you think I'm on the mark here? Do you think I'm totally wrong? Let me know in the comments. As always, please hit subscribe if you like this video. Give us a thumbs up to help in the algorithm, and make sure to come back for new videos.